How's it going, everybody? My name is Infamous Isaac, and I'm here with a video on Better Call Saul Season 2. The second season out of 6 for this show. And let me just get right into the rating real quick. I think this season was a little worse for me than the first season, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have its good parts. If I had to rate it overall, I would give it like a 7.5. I think I gave the last season an 8.5 or an 8 around there. I want to make sure like it is knocked down at least a little bit compared to how I felt about the first season, because the first season I loved it. Like I really liked the first season. The second season, I liked it. Well, but some parts I was just kind of bored. Like some parts I felt like it was dragging. The first half of the season had some good parts, but I was just kind of like, oh, okay, all right, well, what's really happening right now? Like I know what's happening, but I wish you could just get to the crazy stuff, or at least something really something that gets me out of my seat happens, which with Mike, it did happen, but you know, I'm rambling. I'll get into why I gave that rating later, but I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's a little worse for me in enjoyment compared to the first season, but this season is still good. A lesser rating for this show is like a some other show's best rating that they will ever get from me. So it's like I liked it, not as much as the first one, but I liked it. So let me get into that now so people who heard the rating can go about their day. For the people who want to stay and don't care about spoilers, then let me go into it for you. So the first 5 episodes are like, okay, you have Jimmy going to work for Davis and Maine and all that. It's like, okay, that's cool, but with all that stuff going on with Kim and Hamlin or Howard, excuse me, it's just like, oh, all right. It's just normal lawyer stuff. This is all right, okay. But Mike's stuff, on the other hand, really carried that for me. Mike with Ignacio, or Nacho, I guess, and seeing Hector Salamanca, it's like, yo, that stuff carried it for like the first 5 episodes. And then for the rest of the season, it was just really good. I was engaged from like the beginning to end for the rest of the 5 episodes because both sides were carrying their weight. And it's because I'm cringing watching Jimmy do all of his stuff, and I'm over here in suspense watching Mike do his stuff because Mike is the Breaking Bad stuff. He is wholeheartedly that stuff. The epic, like not gut wrenching, but what's that called? Suspense. It is all suspense. The Breaking Bad stuff. Breaking Bad had that suspense since it was just Walt and Jesse and all the drug dealing stuff. He has the dirty business. What's his dude's name? Jimmy, on the other hand, has that, but to a lesser extent because he's around people who want to do things legally. You have not Howard, Chuck. You have Howard. You have what's her name? Kim. All the people at Davis and Maine. You have Mesa Verde, and you have all that stuff going on, right? And Jimmy's the the most morally questionable ones out of all these people. And seeing him do his stuff is just like, on one hand, I'm rooting for Mike because of that quote when he said in season 1 to that guy, that patron that he was helping out, how you're now a criminal. Whether you're a good criminal or a bad criminal doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you can't go back to normal living. Like you are a criminal. Jimmy is walking that fine line very bad, like very badly. he and in this season we see that with him committing felonies, with I I forgot soliciting. I think that's what the term is called. Like just soliciting things for Davis and Maine, making an ad without their consent, and then just basically trying to get fired and ruining everybody else's thing. But Jimmy, it's hard to watch him on the other side, right? Like Mike is excuse me, is the side of Breaking Bad that's like, oh shoot, season 5, Tahajali, or well, not Tahajali, Ozymandias and Granite State and all that stuff. But then you have the other side. You have Jimmy's side where it's also Granite State, but the scene in Granite State where it's Walt and Skyler arguing, where it's just like, Walt, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Watching Jimmy is like that. I don't want him to do this. Like, because I know what happens. I know what happens. Not like what happens in Better Call Saul, but I know what happens in Breaking Bad. You don't want him to go down that route. To be sent off to wherever, somewhere in Nebraska, I think, or was that Jesse? I don't remember. But having to work over there in that Cinnabon, it's just like, please, Jimmy, don't do this. Just just stay with Kim, bro. You guys are adorable together. So it's sometimes I cringe watching it because I don't want him to do that as a character. I legit do not want him to do that, but I know what happens. I know that he does it. How do we get there? How do we get there? But characters again, if I had to say the MVP for this season, it's definitely Mike. Mike was so crazy in this season, bro. From the scene with Tuco in the I forgot what it's called, but the Hispanic place to where Tuco beat him up and all that, and he was about to take the gun charge, but then Mike took the gun charge, and then beating Hector Salamanca, and then him and all his beatings with Nacho, bro, and just Hector, or not Hector, him and his family with his daughter-in-law and Kaylee. It's just like watching Mike in this season it paints him in a whole different light compared to Breaking Bad. Not in like, oh, he's a family man. We already knew that. We already knew that he cared for his granddaughter and that he did the things that he did for her and all that stuff, right? But why, or oh, not why. Um, Seeing the other stuff besides that, seeing the stuff with his daughter-in-law and his son, how he's dead now, and the stuff in Philly with his career choice beforehand, and how he's doing all these missions, getting dirty, being a criminal for his daughter-in-law and Kaylee. You know, they don't know about it and they will never need to know about it, but he's doing it for them. And it's just like he's a criminal, but he's not a bad person. Like, or at least in terms of being a father or grandfather, you know, stuff like that. Criminal, like overall, criminally, he's not the best person because shoot, he will kill people, but he's still, you know, on the lighter side. He's like if he was on the spectrum, light being like the morally sound and then black being completely corrupt. He's on the grayer side. He's closer to the lighter gray, but not completely good. And then you have Chuck, who is lawful evil. Chuck is definitely lawful evil, bro. Oh my gosh, this season proves it. This man will do anything to prove that his brother's a criminal. Actually crazy. One thing I actually do want to talk about is the scene in I don't remember what episode, but where Chuck goes to tell Kim how Jimmy doctored those documents for Mesa Verde, and those two arguments, Chuck's argument that he's slipping Jimmy, he's a criminal, he did it, and he even literally word for word said what Jimmy did to the T. Even Jimmy himself admitted it in the last episode of season two. Yeah, you got it down perfectly. I did everything that you said, and he got that down to a T. He understands Jimmy better than anybody, but not in the sense like in a good sense. He understands Jimmy and how he thinks like criminally and how he would go about his actions, but nobody believes him. Nobody at all. And on one hand, I can sympathize with him, but on the other hand, Chuck is going about it really wrong. Because then you have Kim's argument. Kim's argument where Jimmy, sure, he isn't the best person morally in terms of like, you know, going about things straight, being legal, but that doesn't mean that at the end of the day, you're helping him. Like, Chuck is not helping him at all. Chuck is judging him and trying to get him fired and trying to bring him down. When in reality, Jimmy was just trying to live for you. He changed his life for you, and you didn't do anything except judge him and stuff like that. And it's like, yo, you're right. You are so right. You understand that Jimmy is can be a bad person when it comes to being a criminal, but shoot, it wouldn't have happened if Chuck helped him, and not in like, oh, I helped you get out of jail and I'm helping you become a lawyer, stuff like that. If you just accepted him, if you didn't judge him, if you were happy for him genuinely, if you were happy for your brother and just judging him all the time, it's like these two things, they're right. Both of them are right, but one of them went about it the wrong way. And maybe Kim is also going about it the wrong way. We won't know until the end of Better Call Saul, or at least I won't. But right now, I'm siding with Kim. Like, even though I know Jimmy did it, and of course he's wrong for that. That's a whole felony, bro. I still side with Kim because I have the context, you know. Every comment I see on YouTube, it's like Chuck was right, but he was the only one that could have really helped Jimmy. At the end of the day, he was the one that could have helped him, but he didn't. He judged him, and it's like, shoot, man, that's rough. Your own brother, your own brother, one who hurt you the most is the one that you love the most. It's crazy. But you know, all those characters aside, besides that, I like Omar. Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, excuse me. Omar was pretty cool. Yeah, Aaron, she was meh. Yeah, Clifford, he was. The last episode that Jimmy worked in Davison, Maine was really funny, bro. It was toxic. That was one of the better episodes for me. But if I had to say my favorite episodes, I'd say episode 10, episode 9, and episode 4 were my favorites for sure. Those episodes were really, really good, especially episode 10. With the way that it ended, seeing Chuck pull out the tape recorder and pausing it, and then that's it. That's literally it. I was like, shoot, man. Oh my gosh. Oh, one thing I neglected to mention. That one scene with Chuck going into the ER, yo, I I've seen that scene before. I don't remember from where, but I've seen it before. And that scene was it was so scary. It was actually so scary how well acted it was. Chuck's actor was doing amazing. All the people in the room were doing amazing. And that frame, that still frame that we see from the entire time, is just that face down view of Chuck, like that's kind of tilted up. Or not up, but like tilted a little bit so it's not perfectly on his face. So you can see some stuff happening around him. It was scary. It was so scary and one of the best scenes I've seen from any show. That scene was so good. It's not like the end of I forgot Felina, the end of Felina, where you have Walt and Jesse, but this scene overall just that was amazing. That scene was amazingly shot. It was awesome, and I'm not even a director or cinematographer. I forgot what the words were, but that was just so good. That thing was so good, and it hit the emotion. It really did. Shoot, I love that scene so much. But yeah, overall, like this season had its really good parts, but compared to last season, I feel like it was just worse holistically. Where I enjoyed most of season one, here I enjoyed some of season two, but it was good. The good parts were really good. The bad parts, or not the bad parts, more like the other parts were just boring to me. Because again, at the end of the day, this is a slow burner type of show. You know, it's an attorney type thing. It's a court drama, well, somewhat like a court drama. It's not like Ace Attorney court drama, but it's a slow burner to say the least, and that's gonna take it's gonna take it's gonna take a while to build up to that stuff. So I have to accept that, but so I can't help it sometimes that I'm just like, man, I wish, I wish we were at something else right now. Like some parts with Jimmy, while I was cringing, the other parts were just like, geez, man, you show me Mike or something right now, bro. I don't want to be here right now. But yeah, one thing I do want to mention, Kim and Jimmy. I think I like him even more than Skylar and Walt. Like Skylar and Walt in like season one, where it was just such a wholesome relationship. Here, I guess it's more of a deeper relationship where they're not married, so they don't have any ties to each other. But it seems like they're dating. Seems like they're dating, because they're together. But they have their issues, you know. Jimmy is slipping Jimmy at the end of the day, so Kim has to deal with that and learn how to deal with that, accepting him and believing in him. And that could be hard, you know, because Jimmy breaks her trust sometimes by going about it the wrong way, or at least the way that isn't legally accepted. But Jimmy can't really change himself, and Kim is gonna have to accept that at some point, or at the very least, Jimmy will have to try to change himself because, geez, bro, that man is relapsing, like Eminem relapse type stuff, bro. It's crazy. But again, overall, this season, was a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. A little worse than season one, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. And that's where I'm gonna end it here for now. You know, next I'm gonna be taking a little break from Better Call Saul. I'm gonna watch something else. It's short, so shouldn't take long. But after that, I'm gonna go back to season three of Better Call Saul, and then we'll just see what happens after that. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. And until next time, it has been Infamous Isaac, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.